Good afternoon and welcome to Scrapbooking with a Twist. We are doing another embellishment, a mini swap today, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how I decided to do this one. This one was a struggle for me. When I first read it, I thought, oh, that'll be easy, that'll be fun, and then it turned into more than what I thought. So the title of this mini swap is You Make My Heart Sing, and the instruction was to use hearts and music notes. So the first thing I thought, well, I'm going to do a little banner, and I'll put hearts and music notes on it, and that'll just be really simple. I'll be done with it, and I'll like it, and we'll move on. Well, I thought I had a little bitty music note punch. I looked and looked and looked, and I guess I dreamed that. So I had this little banner, and I didn't have any music notes to put on it. My silhouette's not really cutting the way I want it to. I didn't find anything I really liked on Cricut, so I skipped. I said, okay, that one's gone. I'm not going to do that one. My next thought was that I would do like a bar of music and just put some hearts and some music notes on it, because I have this punch that has the treble clef. It has another an eighth note, this quarter note, and those 2 eighth notes. And I thought I'll just do a little thing with that, and that'll be it, and I'll like it. But by the time I got it big enough to do it the way I wanted it, it was just too big. No, that's too big. It fits in an envelope, but it's just too big. I'll use that somewhere along the way, somewhere for a music program or something, but it was just too big. So I'm back to the drawing board. So I started doing hearts and thought, okay, I'll do some layers of hearts and put some music notes on it, and that'll be it. So I made this, and of course our mini swaps have to be flat. And so the further I did this, the more I just felt like it was so uneventful. 3 hearts, and then this one is actually punched out, and this little paper with notes on it is under it, so that gave it a little bit of dimension and interest, but it just still wasn't what I wanted. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So then I started trying to play with it and just make it into more, and that's kind of what I ended up with. And so I ended up with these hearts, and this is what we're going to put together today, and I'll just kind of talk you through what I did. So this is our mini swap. It is from Scraps to Embellishments over on Ginger's Corner, and in the description below, you can get the links to everyone that's playing along. It's just so much fun to watch all of these, because we have the title, which is You Make My Heart Sing, and we're supposed to use hearts and music notes, and then from there, everyone just creates on their own. And so that's really makes it where people just can create, and you can get new ideas. And every video you watch, like I love to watch, you know, like the 30 Days of Sketches and different things like that. I love them, but this one, they're not going to all be so similar. So I really think it's neat. The first thing I'm going to do is, if you can tell, I distressed all the edges of all of my hearts. And so I've done most of that. I'm going to do this one. I do not have a distressing tool, so I just use a little pair of scissors. And while I do this, I'm going to do the twist real quick and just show you how I actually go about distressing. The twist today is from Joshua 23:6, and it says, "Be very strong, be careful to obey all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, without turning aside to the right or the left." This is Joshua talking to the Israelites. They've come out of Egypt. They spent 40 years in the wilderness. They've taken over the land, and Joshua has divided the land between all the tribes, and now he's sending them out, and these are his instructions. He's telling them, go back, live your lives, but don't be swayed one way or another. Live God's way. Don't be swayed by the people that are still in this land, by the people around us that don't worship our God. Do not be swayed by anything. live God's ways. And you have his instructions because Moses wrote them down. When God inspired him, he wrote them down, and you have God's instructions on how to live. And I thought, you know, what a message for me, for us today. In this world of, you know, just where we can click on our phone and talk to anyone in the world and see anything in the world. We have so much that influences us, and yet we have God's law. We have God's way of how we're supposed to live, and we should not sway to the right or to the left. And those are terms that are really used a lot in our particular culture today, in our government. But we're not supposed to do what a government says. We're not supposed to be swayed by what the people around us say. We're supposed to live God's way. Okay, there is that one, distressed. Now, I put a paper down because that gets rather messy. So there is our bottom heart. Now, I've already distressed these. Let me tell you what these papers are that I'm using. This one with the music notes on it is from Echo Park, and it's called Party Time. And it's got all these different colored music notes. I love that, and I thought it was so cute for this embellishment. And if this was not a weekly mini swap, I would be putting these things up on foam tape to just give this a little more oomph. But they have to stay flat for the mini swap, so we're going to keep them flat today. So we're just going to glue our first heart onto that bottom heart. I'm still kind of croaky, as you can tell. Don't feel bad, just croaky. Sure, it's allergies. Okay, there's the first one. Now, this one I have already done because I wanted to go ahead and die cut this heart out. So I did the pink heart. I have just this set of layered hearts, nesting hearts. I think it's a Hobby Lobby set that I got. And actually, I need to finish distressing this one. I thought I had, but I didn't. But I wanted to go ahead and glue those two together so I could go ahead and do this, punch this out. But this one still needs to be distressed. Let me do that real quick. And, you know, depending on your paper, thicker paper distresses better. This black is not particularly thick, but it's real raggy, so it does distress pretty well. Some papers are kind of hard to distress. I think the distressing tool is probably a little easier than scissors, and it gives you some options. But if you don't have one, and why I don't know. I have everything else. I don't know why I don't have a distressing tool, but I don't. And but you can just use your scissors. Uh-oh. Nothing out there, of course. They're just trying to be watchdogs. Hey, that's enough. So anyway, there, that's distressed now. And then we're going to, so this one's already glued. And this paper is, I don't know if you can see, but it's a dotted Swiss, and it is by Basil. Excuse me. So let's glue this layer on. Oh, and I'm going to put black behind this. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm just going to put it, so that gives us 2 layers beneath. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because this black heart and the pink heart are 2 layers. And then I put the black under it, so that gives us a little bit of dimension there also. So let's get that on there. And these may not be perfectly even because of the distressing. I did not have a heart that was just, this is the next size, so I just glued this to the black and cut it out to get it that narrower edge that I wanted on that pink. So that's got us to there. We have, so this is 2 layers deep, so it gives you a little bit of interest and dimension there. Now we need to put our music notes on there. So I've got the 2 1/8 notes and another little 1/8 note that I'm going to stick over here. Like that, I think. So this, even though it seems really, really, really simple, it took me a little while to get it planned just because I couldn't find something that I really liked. And I'm okay with this. It's probably not my best creation ever, but I'm okay with it. So let's put, and this will be off a little, and that kind of adds a little bit of interest to it. Get our other little 1/8 note on there. Kind of straighten them up. So that's got that. And then I punched out 2 different little bows out of this paper, out of the music note paper. It was still kind of plain. So I punched out a couple of bows to put. And I think this would make a cute tag, excuse me, if you wanted to punch a hole there and put a ribbon through here and make it a tag. I think that would be cute too. But I went ahead and just did these 2 bows. Whoa, that's really crooked. Here. I just kind of liked them, and you could kind of curl them up before you put them on your layout. So there are the 2 bows. And then I've showed you these before. These are these itsy bitsy teeny tiny little jewel things. It's Say It With Bling from Want to Scrap. And I think these are the same thing maybe, or very similar, that Ginger uses like in eyes and things like that. But they are just so tiny. I think they're okay on a mini swap. I've used them before, and I'm going to do 3 on here somewhere just to give it a little bit more oomph. These are kind of hard to pick up sometimes. One right in the center of our little bows. These are so tiny, it's hard to get them. And then one for here. That glue will dry clear and matte, so it won't show. And then one right here. Okay. And that is our embellishment. Like I said, it's probably not the greatest one I've ever made, but I finally came up with something that I could live with. And distressing the edges. If I was doing this just for myself, I would definitely put some layers of foam tape, like especially under this pink one where that's cut out, where you could see down in there and really have some dimension. Probably between these 2 also, I would give it some layers, but since they need to be flat for the mini swap, we'll just leave them like this. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed maybe even going through the thought process, the elimination process. As Ginger always says, it's trial and error. Well, I had some mistrials before I finally came up with what I was actually going to do, but we've got it and we're going to use it, and that's how it is. So I hope you have a blessed day, and more important, be a blessing to somebody else. Thank you.